sense of his language and also the, what the thoughts are in my head. So anyway, let me just tell you. So my idea for tonight is to present this to you, in as efficient a way as I can, and then to do a little bit of meditation, which is always nice, and then to have some time for questions. So I think we have until 8 o'clock, right? So let me begin with Winnicott. This is from a book that came out after he died called Babies and Their Mothers, which is a collection of unpublished talks and papers that he gave mostly to lay people, not to psychoanalytic associations. So his language is always a combination of very simple and then with like these little twists that are worthy of a good Buddhist teacher. But he's worked hard in these talks, like this one I'm going to read from, he gave to a group of nursery school teachers, I believe. So this is just from the middle of it. You will want me, he says, to try to make a statement about the infant's needs in this very early stage where there nearly always is a mother figure who's in the position of having nothing much else on her mind over a phase in which the baby's dependence is absolute. So his language takes a while to get accustomed to, but if you have trouble following, raise your hand or something, I'll read it over, okay? I want to say that in these early, most significant weeks of the baby's life, the initial stages of the maturational processes have their first opportunity to become experiences of the baby. Where there is good enough quality in the facilitating environment, which has to be a human one and a personal one, the inherited tendencies of the baby to grow have their first important achievements. One can give names to these things. The main thing is covered by the word integration. All the bits and pieces of activity and sensation which go to form what we come to know as this particular baby begin to come together at times so that there are moments of integration in which the baby is a unit, although of course a highly dependent one. We say that the mother's ego support facilitates the ego organization of the baby. Eventually, the baby becomes able to assert his or her own individuality and even to feel a sense of identity. The whole thing looks very simple when it goes well, and the basis for all this is in the very early relationship in which the baby and the mother are at one. There is nothing mystical about this, he says. I think it's very mystical. The mother has one kind of identification with the baby, a highly sophisticated one, in that she feels very much identified with the baby, but of course she remains adult. The baby, on the other hand, has an identity with the mother in the quiet moments of contact, which is not so much an achievement of the baby as of the relationship which the mother makes possible. From the baby's point of view, there is nothing else but the baby, and therefore the mother is at first part of the baby. In other words, there is something here which people call primary identification. There is the beginning of everything, and it gives meaning to very simple words like being. We could use a word, he says we could use a Frenchified word. I was going to leave that out, but I won't. We could use a Frenchified word, existing, and talk about existence, and we can make this into a philosophy and call it existentialism. But somehow or other, we like to start with the word being, and then with the statement, I am. The important thing is that I am means nothing unless I, at the beginning, am along with another human being who has not yet been differentiated off. For this reason, it is more true to talk about being than to use the words I am, which belong to the next stage. It cannot be overemphasized that being is the beginning of everything, without which doing and being done to have no significance. It is possible to seduce a baby into feeding and into the functioning of all the bodily processes, but the baby does not feel these things as an experience unless it is built on a quantity of simple being which is enough to establish the self that is eventually